Ciao ragazzi, benvenuti ancora a queste interviste live che stiamo preparando. Allora, in preparazione dell'avvicinamento all'XAlp, abbiamo intervistato quasi tutti i piloti e abbiamo chiesto loro un po' di informazioni riguardanti appunto la loro preparazione, le loro motivazioni per la gara, il loro team. È un modo, insomma, per conoscere un po' tutti i piloti che poi seguiremo live durante la gara. Ecco, ne abbiamo visti quasi tutti, questa sera vi presentiamo.
Hello everyone, my name is Patrick and I'm a French-Canadian athlete living in Switzerland. I'm so excited to be a part of the Red Bull XAlps.
Okay. So, Patrick, welcome. Hi. Very nice to have you here with us tonight.
Thank you,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
being here. Thank you. So, Patrick, you are a French-Canadian pilot which lives in Switzerland. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's right. So French is my first language. And
Okay.
yeah, after moving around the globe a little bit for my studies, I ended up settling here in Switzerland.
Right. So, you are Team Canada 2.
That's right.
Okay, right, Canada 2. And first time at the XAlp, but already a good experience in I Can Fly race.
Yeah. So I started doing more hike and fly competitions when I just before moving to Zurich, and then I was looking for mentors, and I joined the paragliding Swiss League,
Okay.
and that's when I started training more with the Swiss athletes. And then they were like, "Yeah, let's go do some comps," and so I started doing more competitions. um, Actually, that reminds me, the reason I joined the Swiss League was because I signed up to do the Dolomiti Superfly,
Yeah.
and I got selected for this. So I was like, I gotta train and prepare because I'm still kind of new at this. So I signed up for the Swiss League. I signed up for the Eiger Tour as a preparation for Dolomiti Superfly, and yeah, then things kind of just escalated from there. So
Right. So, how long ago did you start paragliding, Patrick?
I started in 2013. Yeah, just
Okay,
as I moved to the US for my PhD.
I see. So about 10 years, a little bit more than 10 years, let's
Yeah, a
say.
bit over 10 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Good, good. So, can you tell me something about your team? We know that XAlp is a race for pilots, for solo pilots, but the team is so important to be able to finish the race.
That's right. So my main supporter is Chloe. She's my wife, and we did Dolomiti Superfly together, and we did Expeer together. So we have a good system. Like, we know how to work with each other, and we never have like drama or anything like that. Like, we're super good.
Right.
So this I like very much, and we've always done just like me and her in the previous races. But this year for the XAlps, I decided to enlist more help because in the other races, I noticed it was getting hard to keep track of what everyone is doing and do the strategy and the weather and all that stuff. So I was
Yeah.
doing this as I was navigating, as I was hiking, as I was flying. I was on my phone, like, oh, okay, these guys are doing this, and it gets very overwhelming when you're really tired.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I can't do it because I'm used to doing it in also the smaller races. We do a lot of like shorter races than the XAlps. There's now so many hike and fly competitions on the circuit. But anyway, so I decided to enlist some more people. So I'm gonna have also always with me like someone that is a good hike and fly pilot that
Right.
can find some takeoffs and understand the strategy of people that are like in front and behind me, so that they can help me, yeah, um, see options that I don't see because I'm too
Sure.
tired and all
Sure.
of that stuff. hike with me on launch and things like that.
Yeah. So will you have two vans, two cars, or only one?
No, I try to keep it to only one
Okay.
vehicle. And the reason is quite simple, really, is because every time you have a vehicle, someone needs to drive this thing around. So
Yeah.
if you have two vehicles, that means there's two people that are kind of like immobilized because they need to drive around. So their ability to help is limited. Like if they need to hike, then that means they need to come back and get that other vehicle. So ideally, I keep the support team small enough that everyone fits into a camper, a single, larger camper van.
Right.
And this way only one person is driving, and while a person's driving, the other one can be either hiking with me or looking at weather,
Look,
looking at maps,
weather.
looking at
Yeah. Sure.
tracking,
Sure.
preparing some food, resting.
Yeah, I
um,
understand. It's very important. Absolutely. Yeah. Also because when we talk about races like Dolomiti Superfly or so on, maybe it's 3, 4, 5 days. Here we are talking about 2 weeks, maybe more. It depends on the weather and so on. So for sure, what you said is very, very important.
yeah.
Mm.
Also the racing day, the racing hours are a bit longer in the XAlps, and
Yeah.
there's more days, so I guess everyone will get more tired, and it's good to have
Mm.
more help.
Sure. What do you think about the new route with this X turn point, crossing turn point?
It's epic, but it's gonna be really hard.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's basically like 12 days, a bit over 1,200 kilometers. So it's a bit more than 100 kilometers per day on average. So that's a pretty good average. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Yeah. Also because you have to cross the Alps up and down 4 times, so it's really
yeah,
demanding. Yeah.
yeah. On the
Absolutely.
good side, though, like it looks like there's a lot of sections that connect through these paragliding skyways.
Yeah.
So if you get like some good weather, you can follow some fairly straightforward sections and be a bit faster on these segments. Um, of course, if the weather is not flyable, like
Yeah.
it's not
Then
gonna help that much. But still, if the valley is going along course line, then you can still make a lot more
sure.
easy
I agree
progress.
with you. Absolutely. Yes. So, Patrick, which kind of training are you taking? Are you doing? Are you following in order to be prepared and fit?
Yeah, so this is the most training I've done so far for a hike and fly race. I started basically like soon after I got selected, like basically in November. I started training already physically. I do 5 days a week of like aerobic activity.
Hmm.
It's mostly based on trail running. I'll be in Italy this Saturday actually for Chianti Ultra Trail.
Ah,
Um, yeah. So because so the base of my training is really kind of ultra running style training. So long endurance, so that you're not necessarily going like super fast, but you need to be able to go
to
all
be,
day
yes,
every
yeah.
day. So
So,
yeah, and then for the flying is really important. So I try to take as many days as possible off from work when the weather is good and go flying. But also with the Swiss League, I have nice opportunities to do like SIVs. We do at the 3 days so far this year of top landing practice. So just go out and do laps and land on top of a mountain on snow. You take a thermal and then you just do one climb, boom, you top land with like a speed landing. Then you practice a forward again. So these days at the beginning of the season, they're really good to get you like into the flow. It's like, okay, boom, forward. You practice your launches too. Like when you do this, that's what I noticed. I
yeah,
like
absolutely. Yeah.
15 a day for 3 days. It's like, okay, I got my forwards
Yeah.
back.
Sure, sure. Yeah, also because we have seen also 2 years ago, sometimes the takeoff it's really demanding. I mean, you have a strong wind, slopes which are not so easy to handle. So for sure, what you are saying now, this kind of let's say practicing is very very important.
Yeah, I think
Mm.
so. I also try to do like some competitions, like just regular competitions, to
Yeah,
improve my gaggle flying skills and flying fast. This is something I need to work on personally as a pilot. Like I tend to be very conservative and have enough height to like secure my transitions so I don't land. This is good, but it's good also if you can then add a bit more speed to it. So
yeah, sure.
that's the main challenge for me.
Yeah, it's I believe the challenge of every pilot. Altitude, take alt or go faster, and it's always a mix between the two that make the difference. Absolutely. Yeah. Patrick, do you have a mentor, somebody that you are really looking at when you think about your participation to the XAlp?
Yeah, basically the good thing with the being part of the paragliding Swiss League is that I get to train a lot with a bunch of hike and fly athletes around. So in terms of like, yeah, I can talk to like the really cool guys like Kriegel and Patrick and so on, but it's also like all of the other folks that maybe you know a bit less, but they everyone has like cool tricks, and we do these training camps. And the last year we had an epic training camp for like 4 days where we talked everything about like gear, nutrition, cross country strategies, rules of thumb for like when you should hike up to a takeoff or versus just walking along the valley. Like everyone shares like what their like rules are for this.
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
little all kinds of little things like this, and through this I've learned so much from these other competitors. And then it's also just hanging out in hike and fly competitions, like smaller ones, and then you just pick up a lot of stuff here and there from all these guys.
Sure. Yeah. And I believe this is very important because, especially when you are under stress and tired after, the first 4 or 5 days, it's easy, let's say, to keep your mind clear. But when it gets to 8, 10, 12 days, then having this kind of experience sometimes help you to find a good way, even if you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, that's something I'm somehow comfortable with. Like I'm good at managing the really long efforts
Hmm.
and keeping my head straight. So the longer the race, the more it plays to my strengths. Basically, I'm not that good on the little fast and furious 1 day tasks, but the longer it goes, I can keep going. I avoid doing mistakes
Right.
and
Understand.
and
So
works.
this brings me to the next question. I was to ask you, which is gonna be your strategy during the race?
Yeah, so basically, it's not super hard, right? It's basically just um, try to keep with as close as possible to the lead pack and
Hmm.
not do crazy mistakes. Um, so yeah, just really good strategies. My big phobia is always to bomb out on a good day and lose a bunch of time. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I'm probably not alone in there. No matter how much paragliding you've done, you
Sure.
probably always fear bombing out. But yeah, so basically this kind of stuff. So trying not to bomb out and follow the pilots, evaluate the strategies that people are taking in front of me, so that I can play the long game, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
Understand. Understand. So, Patrick, talking about your personal life, what do you do when you are not flying or hiking somewhere?
Yeah, so I'm not a professional pilot in the from the time investment side of things. So I'm a physicist by career, and
Okay.
I work for IBM. I design quantum computing hardware, so I'm a bit of a geek actually. Yeah, and that I do as a full-time job here in Switzerland.
Right.
So yeah, and paragliding is just a hobby that I really geek out on. So, for me, like I really look up to athletes that have also like strong professional careers on the side. Like for example, Damien is a cool guy, and for example, in last year in UTMB, the guy that won is like he's not a professional athlete, and
Right.
uh, the couple of professional athletes dropped out and he managed to win. So I'm always like,
Sure.
yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
the biggest challenge for me is to try to train as much as possible while managing, a demanding full-time job. Yeah.
I understand. Good, good, good. So, Patrick, so many athletes, and this is a question that I ask to everyone, uh, talk about a magical moment, a special moment in flying or hiking that they have. Which is your special moment?
Yeah, one of them that jumps to me is just the simplest things that remind you that paragliding is so cool. One of my, in my when I was still quite a beginner, we were driving up to launch, and we were like, oh, I think we have time to do another flight. So we pack up the gear in the pickup truck, and we rush up the mountain to be able to fly before sunset. And we get up to the paragliding takeoff, and there's these guys hanging out on the takeoff area. They have no idea what's going on. They just see people roll out in a pickup truck, drop the bags out, get the paragliders out, and then we were just like bam, bam, bam off the
Wow.
takeoff. And within 10 minutes, like we had arrived, laid out the wings, and flew into the sunset. And I was just imagining, like, these guys like, oh, what was that?
Yeah.
Then we just flew like straight into
Yeah.
like glassy smooth air, and then we were like kicking cactus tops and
Yeah.
all of that
You
stuff, and
know, Patrick,
with friends. And
yeah, nearly everybody talks about flying in sunset. You know, I believe this is really magical for everybody.
it's
It's
special.
something
And
absolutely.
it happens to me in training all the time too, that after work I'll just go up a mountain with my glider,
Mhm.
and I love that feeling of being alone on a mountaintop with my glider. The sun's going down, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. Like in 10 minutes I'll be like landing by my car.
Yeah,
No walking
absolutely.
down, baby.
That's true. Absolutely true. Yes. Patrick, what is I don't know. You consider, I believe, Canada as your country, main country. Let's say,
Yeah.
what is the this race, the XAlp, meaning for the paragliding community in Canada? Do they follow a lot it anyway, even if it is on the other side of the world?
I think so. I think it's growing. There's more Canadian athletes, and Canada has amazing terrain for paragliding.
Mhm.
Um, Especially if you look like out west, it's completely wild. But perhaps one of the reasons why it's still a bit, um, I don't want to say behind. It's not that there isn't like good pilots, but it's just the it's really remote out there. So when you want to go out, do some cross, even just regular cross country paragliding is super committing. So
Yeah.
it's just like the barrier to entry is a bit higher. So there's just probably not so many people that get started doing the real serious backcountry flying. But the terrain is there. There's more trees. Like it's so hard to compare. The Alps is has just like the perfect terrain. It looks like it was
Yeah.
designed for hike and fly. Like you have like green
Yeah.
fields everywhere. You have
Sure.
plenty of areas above tree line, and so. But yeah,
Sure.
I think hopefully like it inspires people to like keep keep flying and do more and more cool stuff like this. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. 2 years ago, I was at the pilot's dinner, and I was at the same table as James, the other Canadian pilot. Yeah. And he told me absolutely the same thing. He told me, doing some XG flight in Canada, you can maybe cross 2, 3 valley in flying, and then if you have to land, you are very far away from the let's say the people from the good valley to be. You can have animals, you can have bears, wolves. So he said it's really demanding. It's not like here in the Alps that more or less wherever you land, there is a small village nearby. You take a train and you go. There it can be really even dangerous.
Yeah, it's serious, and at two levels, right? Because first of all, there's when it's not populated and there's so much trees, there's just less landing zones. But even when you find a landing zone and you have prepared and you have like water and food, you're inconvenienced. It's like when you're about to make that move, you're like, I know that's the move, but if I land out there and no one can come get me and so on, do I really want to skip work tomorrow because I bombed out
Yeah.
bombed
Oh,
out in this
true,
valley?
true.
It's like, so yeah, it is a barrier to entry. And
Absolutely.
every once in a while, though, you see those flights on X Contest of people sending it in some of these remote areas. They're just like, oh, mind blown. This is so
Oh my
deep.
God. Yeah, sure. That's true. Absolutely. Patrick, do you have some advice that you could say to some young pilots that are looking at you now and to see you participating at the XAlps? So, which is the good way to follow, the good path?
Well, it's really a long and steady progression. I think paragliding is so dangerous. And when you do hike and fly competitions, it's just like that much more dangerous. So I think it's much better to progress a bit more slowly but constantly, to not have like setbacks, to not have major injuries. If you have fear injuries and you have to pull back all the time, broken back, whatever, like you just won't be tempted to do any of that
Right.
stuff at all, because you're like, oh no, this is way too much. So I think it's much better to try to go slowly and very methodically, increase your skills, look at what you want to do. So if it's cross country and whatnot, what skills do you need, like in terms of like glider handling,
Right.
SIV practice, knowing your weaknesses and then working on that. Like you have to push. And every flight I try to practice something, but only like in a very very controlled way, and you only keep like a lot, you always keep a lot of margin, so that
Of
when
margin. Yeah.
when you miscalculate a move, you're not over the line, you're just much closer suddenly to the line. And yeah,
Right.
it can be a bit frustrating sometimes, but yeah, it's the only
It
way.
takes time. It takes time, and yeah, you must respect the wing, respect paragliding. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Patrick. So thanks very much for this interview. Just before to go, if you would say a word or a sentence that represent you competing in the XAlp, what would it be?
We're the Canada geese. We fly slow, but we make it.
Very good. Okay. Okay, Patrick. So thanks very much. And I will be at the starting. Wow. I want this t shirt. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
special made. I made this one for the Xperia actually, and I'm gonna stick with that logo. It's custom
fantastic.
made, obviously, because
Yeah.
it's specific, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I will see you in Kitzbühel because I will be there also at the start. And so we will say hello in person.
yeah, cool. Okay,
Okay.
cheers.
Okay, thank you again. Thank you. Bye.